Hey guys, in this video we're going to show you exactly how to install this goat and sheep pen 10x10 with a 10x10 shade. So let's dive on in, we'll show you how it's done. So this is our box of hardware. It's going to come with all the instructions you need to install this 10x10 shade. Super easy to put together. It's going to come with all your clamps, your caps, and all the screws needed to install this. So really the only tool you need is I love to have an impact drill when installing these shade kits. Even the pens makes it super easy. You can use another drill, just a regular drill, but the impact really helps with the self-tapping screws and even putting the clamps, making them really tight. So for the panel clamps, you're going to need a 9/16 socket with the drill. If you don't have one, you can always use just a regular socket set, and then also a 5/16 hex head drill bit for installing your self-tapping screws for the tin and the frame of the shade, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So like I said, instructions, all the hardware you need, and let's dive on in and putting this all together with the shade kit. All right, now you're gonna have two different types of clamps in this kit. You're gonna have one that's exactly the same on both sides. It should say 1 5/8", so that's gonna be 1 5/8", 1 5/8". That'll go for pretty much your panel to panel, all your panels, or your panel to your post leg, your shade leg. There's the second one is gonna be, we call them a panel adapter, and you can see one side is bigger than the other. Okay, so that's gonna be 1 5/8" to 2 3/8", and that's gonna go from your panel to your post that's concreted in the ground to secure your shade kit. So be sure that you have these, separate them. They're gonna be in each kit. It's gonna have one for shade kits. So make sure to separate those first so that you know what you're working with and what you have. And there's gonna be plenty enough in there for you to use for your kit. And let's dive on in and show you how these put together. All right, we just got everything unloaded out of the truck, and we're gonna dive in and get started on this 10x10 stall with the goat sheep panels and a shade. As you can see here, the first step I like to do is lay it out exactly where you're gonna be building it. So you just literally have to lift it up and put it together with your clamp. So lay it out, lift the panel up, and the first step after that, the next step is we're going to be attaching the shade from the panel to a shade leg. So I'm going to grab one of those legs right now and connect it onto the panel. Here we go. Okay, so your first step when installing your shade kit is going to be your shade leg. Now the shade leg is basically a post with an L on the top, and you're going to be using the 1 5/8" to 1 5/8" panel clamps, same on both sides, as you can see here, we talked about earlier. Okay, so you're going to start with, you're going to go from panel to the shade leg. Okay, it's going to be first step. Make sure the panel, the nut and bolt are to the outside. Okay, and we're going to do two on this, one on top and one on bottom. Alright, so we got the shade leg on. You're going to want to make sure that the L piece is facing inwards. I'm going to show you on the other side. You want them facing each other. Okay, so we got panel to shade leg. And here we're going to show you panel to shade leg as well. Okay, so it's going to be basically a little L here, if you can see that. And again, same panel clamps, 1 5/8" to 1 5/8". And we're going to go again from post or panel to the shade leg. So you can see there, panel to shade leg, panel to shade leg. And we're going to do one top and bottom here as well. Okay, just like I said, 1 5/8 to 1 5/8 panel clamps from panel to shade leg, panel to shade leg, and you're going to be using 4 clamps on each corner where there's a shade leg. Okay, so we're going to go to the side. Again, make sure the L piece is facing inwards. And the hardest part really is going to be that first corner. Once you get that first corner up, it goes pretty dang easy because it's just got that support to hold it up. Okay, and again, panel to shade leg. And if you can see up here, you want to make sure the L's are facing inwards. Okay, that's going to be for your truss, and we'll show you that next. So I got this shade leg connected to this panel, and we're going to put this other panel up. Same thing here. And actually what's a little bit easier is because this panel kind of gets in the way, start with the bottom. You can go inside to get that panel clamp in, slide it down where you want it. I'll explain that a little bit more here in a second. Okay, so if you get the bottom first, it's easier to slide that clamp in. And then at the top, so I'm dropping bolts here, nuts. Okay. So like I said, this clamp has to go kind of behind this panel. So on the bottom it's kind of difficult to do this. You can slide up top, but because of that being on the bottom, you can't. You'd have to take this clamp off to slide it all the way down, which you could take that clamp off. But I'm just, I like to start at the bottom first. So let's get this one on. As I lose all my stuff here. Okay. So again, just like we did on that other side, we went panel to shade leg, panel to shade leg, 4 5/8 panel clamps, and your L's are facing inwards, and we need to do that on all 4 corners. If you like what you see on our panels and products and in these videos, be sure to like and subscribe for more great videos. It's easiest when you're doing your second panel to the shade leg to start at the bottom, but it helps to have 2 people. If you're doing it by yourself, you kind of want to do it up top. So I'm going to start with this. Again, panel or gate at this point to shade leg. But you will have a gate for every pen you do. This one, it's a bow gate. Most of them you're going to have a panel gate combo. Let's see here. So another example, you can see here, to get this panel in, this panel clamp, it can kind of be a pain, but if you kind of hit it in there, it'll go. And again, be sure to make sure the nuts are facing outwards, outside your pin. Okay. So 4 clamps there. Okay, we'll go to the next corner. All right, we just got pretty much the first step. We laid it out and we got our shade legs connected to each corner. We just hand tightened it. So before you go forward to the next step, which will be the trusses, we need to go through and make sure all 4 corners where the shade legs to panels are tight. So we're going to use the impact drill with the 9/16 socket head to tighten all these up, and we'll get going on to the next step. So let me grab my drill. All right, we just got everything tightened with the impact drill. The panel clamps on each corner, there should be 4 like I said, inch and 5/8, the inch and 5/8 panel clamps, and the shade legs are all facing inwards with the L. And the next step is going to be adding the trusses. So let's go. All right, now that you got the shade legs up, we're going to be adding the truss. As you can see here, we're going to use the same inch and 5/8 panel clamps and start with the side panel clamp, as you can see there. And you're going to do 1 on the side and 2 on the bottom. So each shade leg should have 3 panel clamps attaching to the shade leg to the truss. All right, once you get all the clamps put together and connected on the truss to the shade leg, be sure to tighten them all up before you move to the next truss. All right, go ahead and attach the next truss just the same way as you did the first one with the 3 panel clamps and tighten them all up. All right, now we're going to use framing screws. We're going to use those to attach the trusses to the side supports. Next, you're going to be putting these side supports on, and each side support has a tab to where it's literally going to set right on top of each truss. You may have to pull the truss in a little bit, make sure it's tight, put 1 screw on each end, and do both sides before moving on. So your next step is going to be to make sure it's square. Now the best way to do that is get a tape measure and measure from one corner to the other one way, and then you're going to go the opposite direction, basically like an X, and if it's the same measurement both ways, that means it's square. So double check that before you move on. All right, once you get the side supports and it's squared, the next thing is going to be to put this middle support on. So you're going to measure from each side and make it directly in the center. It should be 5 feet. You can also align it with the middle support of your panels, and you're going to screw that in. And once you screw that in, we're going to go in and screw all the other screws in. There should be 2 screws on every tab. Now that you got the middle support on, you're going to want to make sure to go all the way around and finish putting in all your screws. So there should be 2 screws on each tab for a total of 12 screws. So be sure you get all those screwed in and tight. Next step is going to be to add your tin to the roof, to the top of your shade. So we're going to lay that out and start putting that up there and screwing that in. All right, as you can see here, when we just threw the tin up here, you want to start your first piece of tin. If you look at it when you're up here, one side's going to have a half, basically, ridge. The other ridge comes all the way down, and we'll show you a close-up on that. So you're going to want to start on the right side with the half ridge, and you're going to basically have this bottom piece on the edge of that tab. Okay, and you're going to throw them all up there, and the last 2 pieces of tin are actually going to overlap. So the first 2 are going to overlap 1 ridge, and then the last 2, as you can see here, are going to overlap 2 ridges. Okay, there and there. You're going to put them all up there, and then as you can see on this side as well, you're going to flip it around, and the half ridge here is going to be on the outside. So half ridge on both sides. So you will have to flip one around when you finish it off. So again, as you can see here, this has a ridge that goes all the way to the down to the bottom. This one only goes about halfway. Okay. So now that we got all the tin up there, we're going to screw it all in, and you're going to continue to use the framing screws. So here we go. We're going to start with the end. All right, now that we got all the tin up here and situated properly, we're going to be screwing them in with the framing screws, the 5/16 with an impact drill. Impact drill is really nice to use, makes them go in really nice and easy. Okay, and as you can see here on the ridges, you got a big ridge, small ridge, big ridge. We're going to be doing 1 screw in each middle here, all the way down with the framing screw, just like here. Okay. Like I said, these impact drills make it super nice and easy. Other drills will work, but these just give a little bit more juice. You add some nice pressure onto the top, it goes right in real nice. Now the 10-to-10 screws are a little bit fatter, they're a little bit shorter, I think they're 7/8, same 5/16 head. They're gonna be used for right here where this tin overlaps. You're gonna screw them into the tops there to lock them in together. Okay, so you're just gonna, right on top of that big ridge, where you overlap 10-to-10, that's where you're gonna screw that in, okay? So you're gonna do that on every big ridge. There should be 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll be good to go. All right guys, now the last step to this shade kit on this stall is gonna be setting your posts. You're gonna wanna set posts on each corner. So you're gonna have 4 posts. That does come with the kit. And we're gonna show you how we use a post driver today. You can also use, dig a hole and put concrete in it. We recommend 2.5 to 3 feet. But we're gonna take this one down 4 feet to match this 4-foot goat and sheep panel pen with the post driver. And so let's dive on in and show you guys how to set these posts on the shade kit. Here we go. We just finished putting the posts on each corner. We used the post driver, went really quickly. Each post did on average about 7 minutes. So if you're interested in using this post driver from Titan to make this go quick and easy, see the link in the description to get one for yourself. But guys, we did all the corner posts, and now all we got to do is use our panel adapters. Remember, these are 1 5/8 to the 2 3/8. Now you can see why we need those. And this is the only area, this is the only place where we're going to use these panel adapters. All the rest are going to be 1 5/8 to 1 5/8, and you'll have 8 panel adapters to connect your post to your panel. Okay, so we're going to get those in. We're going to get it all tight. We'll use the drill to tighten those up. We'll go around and get all the clamps on, and then I have one last trick for the end to make sure these shades don't go anywhere for you. So we're gonna get all these on real quick, and I'll show you, save that trick to the end, and you guys can jump on and get yours all set and put together. All right, we just got our posts in, and they're all tight, nice and snug. And again, we used the post driver on this one. We didn't use concrete and set those posts. But again, if you want to use one of those post drivers, you can rent one from Home Depot or even a Sunbelt or a local tool rental. But I want to show you the last tip I have for you on these shade kits is going to be using a framing screw, a self-tapping screw, and screwing in from the panel clamp to the post and the panel clamp to the panel. So that's really going to lock in the shade. If these clamps ever do get loose, these are going to hold that clamp in. So if you're worried about windstorms or anything, one of our other shade kits we had up, it's been through a windstorm, 65, 70 mile per hour winds. There was tornadoes all around, and these are the little tips and tricks that we used, and held up great. So again, self-tapping screw, right in there. And lock in that clamp to your post and clamp to your panel. So I recommend doing that on all the posts and your shade supports, your shade leg to your frame. You guys will be good to go. So I'm going to finish wrapping this up, and thank you guys so much for watching. These products are brought to you by Seven Peaks Fence and Barn.